What's the deal, y'all? This your boy King Eric, the media assassin, coming at y'all with some wrestling content. This has been a minute since I gave it to y'all here. And with this video here, I want to tell y'all why the NWO storyline, which started in 1996, was possibly the greatest storyline in the history of wrestling. I said it. And we had many memorable storylines before then. We had Hogan versus Andre, Hogan versus Piper, Flair versus Steamboat, Sting and the Squadron versus the Dangerous Alliance, Ultimate Warrior, Rick Rude. But I'm going to tell y'all what made the NWO storyline. Oh yeah, Sting and Vader. This storyline here, the GOAT storyline. Number one, it played on to what we wanted to see forever as wrestling fans. WWF versus WCW. We all thought this was going to be the catalyst to happen. We knew with the Monday Night Wars with Lex Luger when he jumped ship. Then you had Scott Hall. He came out of nowhere. See, at the time, we didn't have any of that internet dirt sheet like that. We weren't paying attention to that. We didn't even know Razor and Diesel were even leaving. We weren't aware of the curtain call. We weren't aware of none of that insider stuff. We were just looking at everything transpire on TV as it go. But I didn't understand that I haven't seen Razor Ramon on WWF TV in a while. The last time we saw Razor Ramon, it was like in February of that year when he fought 123 Kid. So he comes from the crowd out of nowhere during a match. We never seen nothing like this. Hey yo. And he comes in there. He's throwing shots at WCW. He's throwing shots at Hulk Hogan, calling him the Huckster. Scheme Gene, the Nacho Man. He came in throwing shots at everybody. We was like, oh shit, it's finally going down. Vince has sent the WWF to invade WCW. It's going down because we've been hearing the back and forth for like the past year since Nitro went head to head with Raw. So we know about that beef. But we was thinking, yo, he sent them over there. Then it got even crazier. The following week, guess who shows up next? Big Daddy Cool Diesel with Scott Hall. So now we like, oh my God, this is really happening here. We finally going to get the war. WCW versus WWF. We've been seeing it in magazines. We've been having fantasy matchups. This is finally occurring. And the outsiders came in. They came in as outsiders. That's how the dope with booking was. Like they didn't know they were supposed to be there. They brought live chaos into the TV screen. People didn't know if it was real or not. That's what brought the mystique there. So, this is where it makes a turn. We're sitting there looking at Raw like, yo, who's going to make that jump next to WCW? Is a WCW guy going to make a jump to the WWF? We look at it like that. So, after Kevin Nash jackknifed Eric Bischoff off the stage because he pressed him about having a third member, we were automatically thinking, who's going to be the third member? Is it Bret Hart? Yokozuna? Ahmed Johnson? Shawn Michaels? Because we know they were cool. Who's going to be number 3? So, in the weeks building up to this, they will come out there with ball bats, beating motherfuckers up, They were beating them up. They would have the police rushing them out of the building. It felt like a real life gang fight. So this is where it takes the crazy turn, y'all. The immortal Hulk Hogan turns on WCW. After being a babyface for 12, 13 years, he finally made that turn to the dark side. And that was the game changer right there. Because number one, people don't know that Hogan started off as a bad guy. He used to be managed by a classy Freddie Blassie. You can look at the old clips of the AWA days. He was a bad guy. But this generation here, including us, we never seen Hulk Hogan in that light. And we don't know how it was going to turn out. And man, he relished that role. Because it was exactly how people felt about him for years. They hated his guts and he played on to that. So then, the outsiders, Hall, Nash, and Hogan, they were kicking ass every week. Spray painting niggas. Had the Steiner brothers crash their car. They were ganging up on people in the alleyways. Now, it slowly came from a WWF thing. It slowly started coming away from that. Even though they would add Ted DiBiase and the 1-2-3 Kid, they would become later members. It slowly stopped coming away from a WWF versus WCW thing because Vince McMahon tried to send a lawsuit to WCW claiming that a copyright infringement of the characters, like Razor Ramon talked too, like Scott Hall talked too much like Razor Ramon, and Nash was too much like Diesel, and they lost the case because Vince was trying to be petty, and Eric Bischoff was petty back. So they kicking ass through that whole 96. And you know what made this NWO angle so special? It literally made the top characters at that time take a darker shift. I'm going to give y'all a good example. Sting. He ain't wearing the happy guy tights anymore. He went to the dark side. Because he had to move with the times. The 90s was moving to a darker era. He moved into the Crow gimmick. And if you look at the storyline, it was justifiable. Because think about it. Sting put in a lot of work for WCW. He carried that company on his back. From 1989 to 1996. He was the franchise player. Whereas everybody else went back and forth, bounced back and forth, Sting stayed with them. Even though the Horsemen kicked him in the ass, even though Luger turned on him, they all still stuck to get Sting still stuck with him. So they did a crazy angle where we thought Sting joined the NWO. I'm not gonna lie, it kind of got me. The way they executed it, because they had Lex Luger set up and beat up in the ring. And it looked like Sting, and they used a voice recorder in the limo to make it like Sting was talking to Ted DiBiase. And then Sting jumped out of the limo, and they started jumping him in the ring. So Sting turned his back on WCW because they felt they turned his back on him. Then you had Randy Savage. Randy Savage got tired of getting his ass beat, so he just joined. He joined the NWO, and that brought a dark layer into his character. He wasn't wearing the colorful shit no more. He went to the dark side. He had a dope feud. Think about this. That angle gave birth to Diamond Dallas Page. Made him a star. Turned Randy Savage's character to a darker path. Turned Sting's character to a darker path. Turned Hulk Hogan's character to a darker path to move on with the 90s. Hall and Nash ended up being cool. Gave birth to D-Generation X. Forced the WWF to go more edgy than they ever did, which gave birth to the Attitude Era. That one angle caused all of this. Gave us so many historical moments. And even though it didn't turn into quite the WCW, the WWF versus WCW war, it turned to an NWO versus WCW war. That was cool. It still made it cool. And it still drew ratings for 83 straight weeks. So, these guys were kicking ass. And at the same time, You had a development of Bill Goldberg. You had Roddy Piper trying to come back. You had who else came back and represented, man? Lex Luger had one of the craziest runs in '97 when he won the belt of Detroit. And that was one of the biggest pops he ever had, beating Hulk Hogan there. Man, that NWO angle saved the business. These guys changed the business forever. Regardless of how we feel about Hulk Hogan today, man, that NWO angle changed the business forever. And everybody's still eating off that to this day. And they're eating off it today because now you're going to see him in the video game. Straight up. So, that's my reason behind the NWO storyline being the greatest of all time, because of the simple fact that it played on to the fantasy matchups that we finally wanted to see. It was the closest that we was going to get, number one. Number two, it forced characters to go a darker path, like Sting, Hogan, and Savage, who were colorful characters in 94. In 97, they looked like totally different men. Then you had them forcing the WWF's hand and to create edgier content. So they incorporated realism with that angle too. And it was enjoyable, man. It was a time to be alive, man. So that's my reason behind the NWO storyline being the greatest. It lingered too long, yeah, but from 96 to mid 98, come on, man. It was must-see TV. So this is King Eric signing out. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Holla back.